Well, the Illegal Curve Summer Series is coming to a conclusion, Daniel, because the summer is coming to a conclusion. But before it does, we'll be talking to Jets 2020 second rounder, Daniel Torgersson. Daniel, how's it going? How's it? Welcome back to Winnipeg.
Thanks. It's going well. Yeah, like you said, I just arrived here for a couple of days ago. So yeah, great to be back.
Well, let's look back at your summer. How was your summer back home in Sweden?
It was good. It's a lot of practice. Just stay home with my friends. I had a couple of weeks in Spain with friends, so it was good.
Yeah, and what kind of things do you do when you're like non-hockey related? When I know you're trying to reconnect with your family and your friends, but what are some of the things you try and do when you're back home in Sweden? Do you fish? Do you golf? What else?
I just started golfing for a couple of years ago, so I'm trying to be better at that, and then I love to be at the sea. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
All right. Well, those are good pastimes to take up. They take up some time when you're not in training, but like looking back at the season, your first season over here, your first full season, I should say, over here in North America. We always talk to you right after, like we talk to players after their exit meetings, right after the season ends. But it's kind of hard to reflect on it because it's just ended. You're thinking about the playoffs. So now that you've had the summer to think about it and reflect, what are your thoughts about your full season with the Manitoba Moose?
I would say it was a decent season. I didn't start as I wanted, but it becomes better and better. So I would say just around like Christmas, New Year, it started to get like more as I wanted and just getting more in my way that I wanted. So yeah.
Was there a most memorable moment for you, whether it was wearing a specific jersey or scoring a goal, that sort of thing? Is there anything that really stands out at you that you thought about and you're like, well, that was a pretty cool moment?
Not right now. I just thinking about it. I would say the whole season it was had so much impact on me. Everything. But yeah, for sure, we had a couple of games there. We had the autism game, and then for the what more we had? Yeah, a couple of those games with they had we played for something special. That means a lot for I would say all the players to do that. So yeah.
That's kind of the nice thing that the AHL does that you don't really see in the NHL. They'll do those things, but they'll wear them in the warm-up. You guys wear, whether it's for any of the causes that the Moose do, and there's a lot, you guys get to wear the jerseys in the game. So it adds a little different element than what we see at the NHL level.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the things I've asked players, especially young players coming over here to Winnipeg, but to any market, but here specifically in Winnipeg, do people underestimate how hard it is to adjust to a new situation, a new city, a new country? Because I got to tell you, Daniel, if you put me in Sweden right now and said, become a pro hockey player and do all of these things, it wouldn't be easy. So do you think people take it for granted that, sure, you're 20 when you came over, 21 now, you come over here, you have to be a pro, you have to play hockey, but you also have to adjust to a whole new country?
Yeah, for sure. I think people don't have done it by themselves or for their own. I think they don't really know what we're offering, but you have to come over here and everything. So yeah, for sure, some of us, some of the coaches and staff and players know what we're doing, but like you say, not everyone. So yeah.
Is there a lot of assistance? I'm around the team a lot, but when you are coming back to Winnipeg, what is involved in that process? Do you really do it yourself, or is your agent involved, or is the team involved when you say, okay, I'm ready to go back to Winnipeg for training camp? What's the process like for you to get back to Winnipeg?
For me, it's after the season, I talk to the coaches and have the exiting meetings and everything. Mm-hmm. And of course, I talk to my agent and just talked about the season and everything, and then like for somehow we like just try to be like what especially what I think I need to be improved, and what the coaches and staff want from me here, and yeah, especially like it's a little bit from everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we talk about, asking about adjusting to a new environment, you saw the benefit of having family and friends. Because if I recall correctly, in April or May, when your family was here, I think you went on a bit of a goal scoring streak. I think you scored 3 goals in 5 games. So is that another sort of indication of what it's like when you've got your friends and your family and that sort of comfort around you to make you feel a little bit more, easy in a new market?
Yeah, for sure. It's always fun when they come over here and like see the games and like see how we practice living. Yeah, so for sure it's nice to have them here for a couple of weeks, and for sure it gives me a little bit extra to out there on the ice.
Now, do they bring you anything specific from Sweden that you like to eat, whether it's like food or something that they're like, okay, we'll bring you this from Sweden that you don't get in Canada?
They have like a dip for the chips. You don't guys have here, so yeah.
Okay, so a chip dip, that's the special treat that they bring from Sweden. Okay, good to know. Well,
Yeah.
see, I'm sure the Moose can figure out a way to bring that in for you. If you got to keep scoring goals, maybe they'll bring it in. Who knows? But you know, and one of the things I was going to ask you, and you've been in, you had a full 8 months in Winnipeg. So what were one of the things you learned about, being in Winnipeg? And you can't say how cold it was.
Like how to see like everyone like is involved into like hockey. Everybody like knows hockey and like to watch hockey. That's not the same like in Sweden. Like everyone knows almost everything about hockey and hockey players and everything over here.
And what's that like for you, from a player's perspective, like having folks wearing Torgersson jerseys and cheering you on, and having people ask for your autographs, or having people ask to take a picture with you as a young Jets prospect?
Yeah, sure, it's fun. Like I said, like back in Sweden, not like they don't have like jerseys at the games or like that. So sure, it's fun to see when they have the like the Torgersson jersey and like that. Yeah, but like it's kind of hard to like compare because it's like two really different culture, like hockey culture from here and Sweden. So it's fun and like just nice. I'm just living in the moment, kind of ways.
And so from training camp last September to the end of the 2022-23 season, how did you feel you grew as a hockey player?
Yeah, like I would say I grew really much. Like hockey player, like kind of get more into it over here. It took like I said, it took like a couple months for me to just like grow into it, like know everything, and to get out as much as I can as a hockey player. But we had a great help here with the coaches and everything. So yeah.
And was there one specific area that you noticed an improvement, or was it kind of just an overall general adjustment to playing in North America?
Like overall, but maybe a little bit more in the ozone, and like the transitions from D zone to ozone, I would say.
Okay. Well, when we did our end of season Moose roundtable, I spoke to head coach Mark Morrison about Jets prospects, and he actually mentioned you, and he said he thought you were trending up. He said as the season progressed, you were trending up, and based on our conversation today, I would imagine you kind of agree with that assessment, that you really felt like you got stronger as the season went along.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I feel like I get stronger on the puck and everything. Like played more comfortable. I was more comfortable during the season. Like when the playoff starts, I was comfortable with myself and like how we play as a team and how I played. So yeah.
And one of the things you said at our end of season media availability, and he had said as well, was that you did notice that the grind of the game, there was a fatigue in playing as many games as you did. And you played 69 regular season games. You played 5 playoff games. The most games previous to that, I think you played 40 games the year before with AIK, but actually a little bit more because you played with the Moose and you played some playoff games there. So maybe like 46 games that year, but it was a lot more because here you're playing 74. So, how did you notice in terms of that grind, and how do you prepare during the summer to handle that better for next year or for this upcoming year?
Yeah, it was really special. Like to say, from 40 to 70 games, it's a lot of minutes you play. So I try to do like a little bit more conditioning and stuff like that. So I got like more energy, and yeah.
Okay, and how much
keep it up?
How much of a difference did you notice between the regular season games and the playoff games in the AHL?
Yeah, I would say it was a huge difference. Like everything goes so much like faster, harder. So like you felt it like in your team, like we were like it felt like we were like a different team in the playoffs. With everything, like the approach and everything. So yeah.
Are you still thinking about that neutral zone playoff goal that you scored?
No, not for that.
It was unexpected. Did you expect when you took that shot? Realistically, you were just trying to get it on him. You weren't actually obviously trying to score.
No, I just tried to get it deep. We were on the UD zone for like I don't know half a minute, 40 seconds or something. So I just tried to get it deep and so it could change. And then I just saw the puck went in. So yeah.
And at the same time, you guys were playing in your playoffs. The Jets were playing in their first round series with the Golden Knights. So, what did you think of? I know a lot of. I think I saw you in the press box. A lot of the prospects were watching the Jets series as well. But what did you think of the playoff hockey in the NHL? Observing it, of course. And what did you think of the Whiteout?
Yeah, it was really nice. Like I haven't been with I haven't feel like the atmosphere, like I said, about like everything just got heated up and everyone like just was so involved into it. Like all the stores, all the people around the city, they were like, it was crazy. Yeah.
And what was it like being inside the building watching all those fans go crazy?
Yeah, that was huge. That was really nice.
Does that every young player wants to make the NHL. Every player wants to make the NHL. People who don't play hockey want to make the NHL. But does that increase your desire? Does that, that ability to play in front of those fans that are so passionate to get to that stage, does that increase it, or is it the same because you just have that desire because that's your goal anyways?
Yeah, for sure. Like when you see it, it becomes more like that's my, yeah. I think that affects you more when you like see it and like when you're like into it, but you don't are in the team. I think you're just getting more fun. Yeah, I don't know really what to say. I just
you're fired up by it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That was what I was looking for. And so, one of the things we talk about with the Moose are how inclusive they are. And you and Henry had the benefit was that you guys came and played those games before this full season. So you kind of knew the team a little bit. You were familiar with the guys. But how did they make you as a guy who's 20 and then turned 21 this season, make you feel welcome and make you feel like you have a voice to add to the room, even though you're a younger guy?
Yeah, like I would say I'm maybe not the guy that talked that much or anything like that, but it feels like we were so tight as a group, and we listened to everyone, and just if someone had something to say, like everyone was sitting and listening to him, or like so kind of like it was a real tight group, and I think that has a lot of it to be like, if you're a tight group, you feel more comfortable to speak, and like you feel more like included to the group, and that helps really much.
So we talked about a little bit the exit meetings that the team held with you. What was the kind of the area? I'm assuming maybe it was conditioning, because that's one thing we've talked about in terms of the additional games you play in the AHL. But what was one of the things the Jets / Moose wanted you to work on this summer?
Yeah, for sure, the conditioning. Otherwise, like on the ice, just be a bit more like calm with the puck. Like take a breath, and yeah, like use my strength, my size out there.
So when you're going back to Sweden and you know these are the things that they want you to work on, how do you make that happen? Do you speak to your trainer back home and you say, this is what I need to work on? Or do you kind of have to plan for it? Or do they give you a plan to say, hey, Daniel, this is something that you're going to be able to do, if you'll be able to improve on if you do these things?
Yeah, for sure. I talk to my trainer back home, and then I like both when I am with the trainer and when I'm like home by myself, just working on like small things that can help me to improve my game. So yeah, it's both. It's for sure it's on me to do the things, and then I like kind of have the trainers for some help, and the staff over here.
And do you hear from them throughout the course of the summer? Do they check in with you, whether it's Jimmy Roy, Mike Keane, just
Yeah, exactly.
making sure everything's going on with you and you're kind of hitting your goals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we always talk about all the Finnish guys on the team, but there's a lot of Swedish guys in the organization. I'm not going to list them all, but there's a number there. So when you're back home, and Sweden's a big country, so I know not everybody's right beside each other, but do you practice with any of the guys? Sorry, not practice. Do you train with any of the guys who are on the Jets or the Moose?
No, I don't. We're a couple. I think we're two guys in Gothenburg where I stay and live, but we're training in two different groups. And like I say, Sweden is a big country, and
Yeah,
everyone is not in the same city.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and so when you're planning on getting over here, are you setting goals? Are you a type of player who goal sets before each and every season?
Yeah, I do. Like it's not always like a big goal or something like that. Just like small things that can help me, and like so have something to look at. So yeah.
And so what is your mindset heading into the training camp with the Winnipeg Jets coming up in less than a couple weeks?
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be hard. It's a lot of guys for fighting for the same thing. So yeah, it's kind of like I say, just like juice. I'm not like the best technique, the best guy with the best skills. So I need to use my strengths and do that for 100%.
Daniel, you spoke about something that I've always find curious. Hockey is the ultimate team game. You guys all have to rely on each other to advance, but especially when you're a young prospect, you guys are all kind of fighting for, position to get to that next level. So how is it that you guys are able to work together, help each other, but at the same time know that, hey, I'm trying to get to that next level, and, maybe Henry Nikkanen is as well. So how do you guys help each other, but also know that you're competing a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's like on the practices and trainings, we like compete against each other, which make both like everyone better. So and then like you it's not only the thing you do here that come into it. Like if you need to do things by yourself when like no one watching you and stuff like that. So we are a lot of time here, but it's not always here. It comes down to if you're gonna make it or not.
Okay, well, last one for you, Daniel, and I appreciate you joining us. But it's one thing I've noticed, and especially this year, there's a lot of young talent. If you're with the Moose, there's going to be a lot of young talent, and it's one thing that we talked about with the defensemen, because there were so many young Jets prospects who were playing defense, and I always asked whether it was Declan Chisholm or Ville Heinola or whomever, or Leon, or I can name them on, Simon, we could go on and on and on. I'd say, hey, what can you learn? Because Villy is different than Tyrell Bauer or Declan, and so what do you guys learn from each other? Now with you guys as a forward group, you look at it, you've got Chaz Lucius, Brad Lambert, Dmitry Zhilkin, Nikita Chibrikov, yourself, Henry Nikkanen. Those are just some of the prospects. Do you look at it as an opportunity to take some things from guys who maybe have different skill sets than you do and add those skills to your toolbox?
Yeah, for sure. Like everyone, like all the guys you said are like really good hockey players. So, and like everyone is like learn from like different schools and how to play hockey. And like I think if you can like take a little bit from everything, you will improve your game and like to be the best of you as a player.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Daniel Torgersson, Jets 2020 second rounder, for joining us as part of the Illegal Curve Summer Series. We'll see you very soon at Jets training camp.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Daniel.